relocate the replacement Gresham Park Elementary School facility. Mr. Wilkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The purpose of this request is to obtain the board's decision about the location of the new 900-seat Gresham Park Elementary School. This school impacts the residents in the Gresham Park, Clifton, and Meadowview attendance zones. As the board may recall, on January 6, 2014, it authorized the superintendent and the administration to explore the use of Clifton Elementary School site for the future Gresham Park Elementary School by 1, seeking site approval from the Georgia Department of Education, 2, conducting the required public notification meetings, and 3, preparing a full cost estimate review for the additional design, engineering, and construction costs. After working through that extensive process, we recommend the following requested action, and that is that the Board of Education approve the relocation of the Gresham Park Replacement School at the current Clifton Elementary School site and a budget amendment of $1.8 million for the Gresham Park Elementary School Replacement Project. Mr. Chairman.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Mayfield.
Yeah, I would just, thank you, Mr. Wilkins. I'd just like you to share, I guess, with the public, your thoughts on the benefits of, just sort of in a nutshell, the benefits of changing the location, particularly as it may relate to operational cost or servicing the facility or the quality of life for students in that particular community.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Mayfield. We conducted an extensive review, as I mentioned, and we are absolutely convinced that this is the best location for the school. Several factors go into that assessment. First of all, when you take a look and you compare the Gresham Park site to the Clifton site, you'll see that the access is superior at the Clifton site. There's a number of facilities that also make it attractive. There's a park right across the school at the Clifton site, and there's also a community center there. So with the addition of a school, you'll be able to leverage those facilities at the same time. In addition, we looked and considered the community's concerns about access to the school and just kind of the neighborhood environment, and we did that in quite detail. So, for example, with the support of Chief Alexander, I spent an entire day with a police patrol in that community. That's an entire 12-hour shift to get to understand the community's perspective about the various dynamics that happen within the neighborhood. And as I looked at and saw how the community functions, the Clifton site, again, is superior to the Gresham Park site. So overall, we feel that that is a better site for the community. We want to build a school where the community is going to support the school, and that location does that. With respect to the costs, I'll let Mr. Jambro, our design manager, talk in just a moment. But these costs are going to be maintained and constrained as best that we can. This is generally a not-to-exceed cost that we're looking for, but we expect to come under that $1.8 million. Mr. Jambro.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. Mr. Mayfield, the cost breakdown for this $1.8 million is divided up into a few categories here. Number one, we're projecting $500,000 to demolish the Clifton Elementary School. That's got to happen for us to build on that new site. The second piece is because this project is going to be pushed back a year, we're anticipating escalation in construction dollars at about $350,000, and that's substantiated from Engineering News Record, which tracks a escalation in various geographic cities and whatnot. Also, we're also considering $1 million related to additional design services, engineering, and site construction costs. And in that $1 million, there'll be about $400,000 to basically do a site redesign at Clifton for the new school. $200,000 for what we're calling phasing, because we're planning on leaving the students at Clifton and building New Gresham there. That also saves us money, and we're not going to have to put up portable classrooms at either site, Meadowview or Clifton, so that'll save us some dollars there. But we're going to have to be careful to keep the students separated from the actual construction. And we've done that very well at Chamblee Charter High School. And then another $400,000 for engineering related to civil engineering, stormwater quality control, and site utilities, bringing them to the new building.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayfield, so overall, we feel that the Clifton site is simply superior to the Gresham site by far, and that it best supports the student success at that location.
Mr. Thurman, followed by Mr. Coleman.
Mr. Chairman, and one of the things I would like to add as it relates to this particular project, one of the understandings we've gained is something that Dr. Carter spoke to, I guess, a couple of weeks ago. We actually build the schools for the communities for which they are to be served. And we basically reformed our entire process in terms of how we engage the community, not so much in decision making, but making sure that they are involved and understand the goals, objectives of not just building a building, but also building a school. To that extent, I'd like to recognize Dr. Irwin, who played a key role in helping to bring this about, the growth and understanding the process within the DeKalb County School District. And I support, the community supports this project in a way that was not present here 2 or 3 months ago. And I'm sure Dr. Irwin might want to speak to it, but we come to this point primarily because he took the lead in helping us to see how we could better leverage this very important asset to better serve the community, and more importantly, to have the support of the community as we go forward.
Mr. Coleman, then Dr. Irwin.
Well, my question might be answered by Dr. Irwin or others, too. So I have a couple of quick questions, one of which Mr. Thurman started to answer. I just wanted to know the general kind of tenor of the discussions with the community. It looks like you've had several chances to engage. So what was the tenor of those discussions? And then secondly, I have heard positive things. I'm sure folks raised concerns. And so, if so, what were the concerns about the Clifton site, and what are we doing to ameliorate those concerns kind of throughout the process?
Well, I guess the temperament of the conversation that we first started in October was, why was there concerns not heard by the board? How did that voice get lost? How was the decision made? And why can't the decision be reversed? And that's when myself, Superintendent Thurman, Mr. Wilkins, Dr. Thompson, Ms. Tyson all got together and talked and decided to start over from scratch. So that's when the community meeting started again. I think our first one was it December? First community meeting was December, after the one in October. And everybody kind of came together, and we decided that we were going to start this from scratch. The public was really upfront and really heard us trying to rebuild a relationship with them. So from that point, we went to a new community meeting in, I believe, February. Was it January? Right before the second snowstorm. And Superintendent Thurman came out. He just wanted to hear what the people had to say before he came to the board and asked us to approve the staff to look at the situation again. So the community is behind it 100%. This really goes forth in us rebuilding a relationship with the community, because we want to work with the community wants to work with us, and this really starts a real team-building effort right here. With the Clifton site, as Mr. Jumbo said, you can actually demolish the school while rebuilding the school at the same time. The Gresham Park site, to me, was not the right environment for our 21st century school, or our school with 21st century technology. The Clifton site just gave you more avenues for after-school activities, a bit more space, and I think it fit our model, our prototypical elementary school a little bit better. So, but the thing that I really wanted to point out here is that the community wants to rebuild the relationship with the board, with the staff. This is a good time to do it, and this is a great project to do it in. And this location is actually going to maintain and hopefully improve parental engagement. So I hope the board supports this.
Dr. Marley?
Yeah, I just want to say, I want to commend the team and the superintendent, Dr. Irwin, and Mr. Wilkins and everyone else on the team, because it's time for us to have some forward thinking. It's time for us to stop being where we were before, stop looking at what was, what didn't, what isn't, and begin to look at what is and where we're going. But to have a collaborative venture where you have the community in there having a say-so, and they're actually being heard. You know, one of the greatest things and greatest atrocities that have been with the board and the community was the lack of trust. with the system, the lack of trust. So I agree with Dr. Irwin. Here's an opportune time for trust to be rebuilt, for collaborative ventures to be there. Communication, open communication. People want to know that they're listened to and that they're heard. And this is an effort to show that. But the other thing is recognizing that education is more than a set of school books and people teaching. It's also that edifice. It's where that building is located. It's the environment. All of that is instrumental into a child having a holistic perspective to learning. So I just want to commend the team for the efforts that you've done, and hoping that my colleagues will begin to recognize that it is so essential that we look at all of these factors that need to be considered when we talk about academic achievement and academic success.
Is there any opposition to placing this item on the consent agenda? Hearing none, this item will be placed on the consent agenda.